This video is going to take a look at creating your exterior. First, take a piece of paper and then line the side of your box up with the corner of your paper. That way you already have two straight lines and you only have to trace two more. Use a pencil to trace around the walls so that you end up with a piece of paper that is the same size as the exterior of your box. You will have to do this for both sides. Next, get a pair of scissors and cut the edges cleanly. That means that you need to open your scissors all the way up and don't let them close all the way. Before they close, open them up again so that you're cutting a clean line. Cutting a clean line is a part of your grade. And when I hold this paper up, you can see that it lines up to the exterior of the box. First, we'll learn option 1, siding. And we're going to use the ruler, since it's see-through, to line up the blue boxes that have the numbers with the side of the paper. Take the time to make sure that the blue boxes are actually all resting on the line. Hold the ruler with your non-dominant hand and line them up each time, making the mark with your dominant hand. So I lined it up with the side of the paper to begin, and now I'm lining the blue boxes up with each line that I create. This keeps the lines nice and level so that they don't turn into weird diagonals. Next, decide what color you want your siding to be. I'm going with blue. Choose a dark and a light version of whatever color you pick. Start with the dark one and use that at around 60% pressure along the lines. This makes sure that the lines don't get lost when you use the lighter color. Next, switch to your lighter color and use that at 100%. I'm choosing an even darker blue. This one is indigo, which is like a navy, and going over the lines so that they stand out. Siding is what a lot of houses have on the exterior. Like, for instance, if you have a white house or a blue house or a green house, whatever, it's usually siding. Now we're going to learn option 2, brick. It starts the same way as siding, using our ruler and lining up the blue boxes as we make lines all the way across so that they're nice and level. Next, we're going to use the ruler to create the bricks themselves. Line up the ruler with the end of the paper and make a line at every inch. Bricks are meant to be staggered, so instead of lining the ruler up at 0, I'm lining it up at the half-inch mark. And I'm going to make my marks again at 1, 2, 3, and 4, etc. And this way, the bricks are staggered, meaning the lines of one brick do not exactly line up with the next row. Then you line the ruler up at 0 again, and for the next line at 1/2 inch, back to lining it up with 0, and then back to lining it up with 1/2 inch. And if you continue like this, you will get nice, neat, staggered bricks, which is the goal. You can definitely color the bricks with colored pencil. I do think that it's easier to use watercolor, so that's what I'm going to show you. Bring over red, orange, and brown into your palette, and when you're applying your color, you should intentionally bleed them together so that the bricks have variations of color. Typically, bricks are not the same exact color all the way through. They're usually warm tone variations. So you need to apply the watercolor pretty quickly so that it's able to intentionally bleed and that it doesn't dry too fast. If the color is not bright enough once you watercolor it, you can always do a second layer and that will make your color more vibrant. Wait until it's completely dry and then you can use either a white paint pen or a colored pencil to go over the mortar lines. In real life, mortar is what goes between the bricks to keep them connected together. So I'm going to show you both options. This is what it looks like when you use the white paint pen. And then you can also use a gray colored pencil. So this is the gray colored pencil. I'm changing them halfway through. You're not going to want to do that. You're just going to want to pick one or the other and stick with it the whole time. So these are both options. Next, we're going to look at concrete bricks. For concrete bricks, we're going to start in the same way, only we're going to use the entire width of the ruler. So with each line I make, I line up the whole ruler width against it and continue on. We're going to make these bricks larger. So instead of 1-inch bricks, these are going to be 2-inch bricks. So you put your ruler down and then make a mark at 2, 4, 6, and 8. In order to stagger them for the second row, you're going to make a mark at 1, 3, 5, and 7. And then we're back to 2, 4, 6, and 8. Continue on like this until you've made all of your concrete bricks. So essentially, we've made a whole bunch of rectangles. Go inside each rectangle and draw the brick shape. This is going to allow the brick to have a wider mortar in between. In real life, concrete bricks, like what the school is made out of, are often larger, and therefore the mortar stands out a little bit more. I'm just going to do a couple of rows for this demo, but you would do the entire thing like this. Once it's all done, erase the initial guidelines so that you have the wide mortar showing. Again, you can use colored pencil or gray watercolor. I'm going to show colored pencil because I showed watercolor for the other bricks. But if you choose to use watercolor, mixing gray is blue and brown in the same palette space. Otherwise, I've chosen a light gray tone and I'm coloring in each of the concrete bricks. I'm having them be darker around the edge and a little lighter in the middle. Once the lighter gray is complete, I use a darker gray around the edges to make them look a little bit more three-dimensional and realistic. You can create an exterior that is different from these options. However, if you're undecided and you don't know what to do, then choose from one of these three.